How did ancient humans travel the world? Picture a small group of people standing at the edge of a beach. No map, no engine, no boat you or I would ever trust our lives to. Just open water, stretching all the way to a horizon they can't see past. And they climb in anyway. They paddle straight into the nothing. And somehow, a few generations later, their grandchildren are living on an island 1,000 miles out at sea. No GPS, no compass, nothing. How is that even possible? And honestly, what kind of person looks at an endless ocean and thinks, yeah, let's go? Because here's the part that should make the hair on your arm stand up. That same restless itch is probably sitting inside you right now. But before we get to you, we have to deal with something that doesn't add up. For most of human history, people had no metal tools, no written language, no idea the world was even round. By every logic we have, they should have stayed put. A cave, a river, some food nearby. That's a good life. So why didn't they? Why did our ancestors keep walking, keep paddling, keep climbing into the unknown when staying home was so much safer? The answer isn't bravery. It's something a lot stranger than that. You've probably been told humans spread across the world slowly, like inch by inch, one valley at a time, over millions of years. That's the picture most of us grew up with, and it's wrong. The truth is, once early humans left Africa, they moved fast, shockingly fast. We're talking the entire span of Asia in just a few thousand years, a blink in human terms. They crossed deserts, crossed mountains most modern hikers wouldn't survive. And the question scientists kept circling back to was simple. What was chasing them? Or what were they chasing? Here's a small piece of the answer, and it's wild. Some scientists think part of it is literally written in your DNA. There's a gene, researchers nicknamed it the wanderlust gene, and people who carry a certain version of it tend to be more curious, more restless, more willing to take a risk and try something new. And guess what? That exact version shows up way more often in populations whose ancestors traveled the farthest. The people who wandered the most were genetically a little more likely to want to wander. Read that again. If you've ever felt that pull to just go somewhere, anywhere, that might not be a mood. That might be inheritance. If that already gave you a little chill, do me a quick favor and tap like. It genuinely helps push this video to other people who'd find it as strange and cool as you do. Okay, so we've got the why. Now comes the part that breaks people's brains. The how. Let's go back to that beach, because crossing open ocean with no instruments is the single most impressive thing our ancestors ever pulled off, and almost nobody talks about it. The people who settled the islands of the Pacific did something that, on paper, should be impossible. They found tiny specks of land, islands smaller than some cities, scattered across the biggest ocean on Earth, and they found them on purpose, without writing a single number down. So how do you navigate thousands of miles of empty water, using nothing but your own body? The answer is genuinely beautiful. They read the world like a book the rest of us forgot how to open. They watched the stars and memorized the exact spot on the horizon where each one rose and set, turning the night sky into a giant rotating map. They felt the ocean swells move under their boats. Different swells came from different directions, and a trained navigator could feel the change in his body, in the dark, with his eyes closed. They watched which birds flew out to sea in the morning and back to land at dusk, and followed them home. They noticed how clouds pile up differently over land than over water. Every one of these was a clue. And they held all of it, in their heads. But here's where it gets almost unbelievable, and this is the part nobody talks about. Some of these navigators could supposedly tell which island they were near by lying down in the bottom of the canoe and feeling the pattern of the waves with their back. The way different islands bent and bounced the ocean swells created a kind of signature, a fingerprint made of water. And they learned to read it. Think about what that takes. Not one lifetime of learning. Generations of it, passed down by word of mouth, parent to child, with zero room for error. Because out there, one mistake means you never see land again. And that's the thing we keep underestimating about ancient humans. we picture them as simple, primitive, grunting cavemen poking at fire. But the brain you're using to watch this video right now? It's the exact same model they had. Same size, same wiring, same capacity for memory, for planning, for pattern. They weren't dumber than us. They just pointed all that brain power at survival instead of, remembering passwords. Which raises an uncomfortable question. If they could memorize the entire sky, why can't we remember where we put our keys? The answer is a little humbling, and it tells you something about your own mind. Your brain is lazy on purpose. It offloads. The second you got a phone that remembers everyone's number, your brain quietly stopped bothering. Why hold something in your head when a device will hold it for you? Our ancestors didn't have that option. No notebooks, no phones, no backup. So their memory had to be enormous, because their memory was the technology. The map, the calendar, the library, the survival manual. All of it lived inside a single human skull. We didn't get smarter over time. In some ways, we got comfortable. Quick question, and I really want to know. Have you ever felt that random, almost annoying urge to just leave? To get in a car or hop on a plane and go somewhere you've never been, for no good reason at all? Drop a yes in the comments below. I've got a theory about why so many of us feel it, and I want to see how many of you say it too. Because what we're really talking about here isn't history, it's instinct. So let's pull the thread all the way. Why did they keep going? Not the gene, not the navigation, the deep reason. Scientists think it comes down to one trait that defines our entire species. We are the only animal that imagines a place we've never seen and decides to go find it. A lion doesn't dream about the next valley. A wolf doesn't wonder what's across the sea. But a human stands on a shore, looks at the horizon, and pictures something better waiting on the other side. That ability, to imagine a future and chase it, is the whole story of how we covered the planet. And it came with a cost. That same restless drive that pushed us across oceans is the same one that makes you scroll for the next video, chase the next goal, feel a little empty the second you get the thing you wanted. The wandering never really stopped. It just moved inward. We're still standing on that beach. We just traded the ocean for a screen. Which brings us back to where we started. Those people climbing into a fragile boat, paddling toward water they couldn't see across. For years it looked like recklessness, like a death wish. But now we can see what it really was. It was the single most human thing imaginable. The need to know what's out there, no matter the risk. They didn't conquer the world because they were strong or armed or even particularly safe. They did it because they couldn't sit still. Because something inside them refused to accept that the edge of the map was the edge of what's possible. And that something, they handed straight down to you. So the next time you feel that itch, to travel, to start over, to walk into a room where you don't know a single soul, don't talk yourself out of it so fast. That feeling isn't random. It's the oldest part of you. It's the same voice that put your ancestors on that beach, staring at the impossible and saying, "Let's go anyway." If this changed the way you see that restless part of yourself, hit subscribe, because the next video is about what that same instinct does to your brain when you finally do leave, and you are not going to want to miss it. I'll see you there.